salt. Sodium chloride, or salt, is so common that we literally put it in and on everything, ranging from food to bath water. But how did salt become a common tool in the practice of magic? Everyone knows that the ocean is saltwater. Saltwater is more corrosive than freshwater due to the chloride side of the equation. Saltwater also freezes at a lower temperature than fresh water. Sprinkling salt on snow causes it to melt, so it is used on roads in the winter. Salt extracts moisture. For this reason, it is used to kill unwanted snails and slugs in some gardens. This is a very cruel method of pest control, as it causes much pain to the poor animal. Fresh water comes from springs and rain. Fresh water is good to drink and makes the plants grow. People literally pray for rain. Water is considered a source or cause of life. In today's cultures, money is essential to live so often. When one wants money, they want to make it rain. Fresh water is used for holy water, even though some people put a pinch of salt in it. I refer you to my previous essay on holy water. Seawater is not good to drink, but fresh water is. So fresh water is considered holy and good. People like the exotic, particularly when it comes to evoking feelings of holiness or the sacred. In the interior lands, salt water was scarce, so seawater becomes holy. So oftentimes they will seek out a special source of water from a distant land. Throwing salt over the left shoulder is said to scare the devil away if you accidentally spill the salt. I allege this has more to do with the value of salt as a commodity than protection, but only along the lines of crying over spilled milk. You have to understand that humans back then were just as intelligent as we are today. Just like we want to be good people who aren't attached to material things and have good morals and the like, so did they. The gods were very real to the ancients, just as real as God is to me. They had their devils too, just like Abrahamic faiths have Satan. In many areas, salt was scarce and was valued as currency in the ancient world, but also used as a condiment. When one spilled salt, it was like losing money. If you are a drug addict, think of it as spilling your stash on the carpet. People freaked out and thought the devil was trying to steal their salt. Salt represented the good life. The devil wanted to steal their salt because it is something that to them is very precious. So the wise ones devised a way of dealing with this by having their clients throw a pinch of salt over their left shoulder, because the devil is the left-hand path. This wasn't so much as to ward off the devil, who was making them feel uncomfortable, greedy, and sad, but they were giving him some so that he would leave them alone. In royal or wealthy households, favored servants were often allowed to sit with the families during meals. Salt was so precious that the servants, while being guests at the table, had to bring their own salt to the table. They were considered below the salt in the parlance of the time. Salt was considered a form of wealth, since payment for services rendered were often settled with this precious condiment. We sometimes hear of someone being worth their salt. The reason these things I just shared with you are important magically is because you are most likely already familiar with it, and so it is in your subconscious. If you weren't naturally drawn to magic, then you wouldn't be at least trying to take this seriously. Either that, or you are just a glutton for punishment, which is a thing. Water has been shown to retain memory, and this sentiment is echoed by many life coaches and gurus, etc. The student is most likely familiar with many. Intent and sound are believed to affect the arrangement of the ice crystals. Also, there have been experiments in which rice was kept in separate containers, and one was loved and one was hated. You can easily search for and find this stuff on the internet. The student is most likely also also aware that crystals have special properties often associated with consciousness and electricity. So, in theory, one can infuse some liquid with salt, chant the sacred mantra the allotted number of times, thus programming the water and the crystals with cymatic intent. This water can then be used to bless or grace a sacred object such as the magic ring, and I refer you to the previous video, or some other such device as the OCD student, such as myself, may deem necessary. Real masters have no need to advertise. It's called a cult for a reason. It's between you and God. The author, Magical, is not a qualified psychologist or therapist in any fashion. Please seek the help of a qualified professional if you need to. However, I hope for this series of posts to help others as I explore myself and discuss how I deal with my personal issues and other related things. So feel free to comment if you like, as I am always willing to learn. Tell your friends. Love, Magical.